Today, January 1st, 2026, I write these words like someone tracing a map to navigate the ocean. There is an ocean of consciousness, infinite, deep, alive, and we are drops of that ocean. Each of us is a drop that contains, in its essence, the memory of the entire ocean. The drop and the ocean are the same. The difference lies in scale, in perspective, but both are made of the same substance, vibrate at the same frequency, contain the same information. This year is, for me, the year of alchemizing the internal into the external, of turning what I have received as vision into something that can materialize, be built, be inhabited. That is why I set the intention to show the complete map, the blueprint of the space we need to create, so that a new state of consciousness has somewhere to live. If the path were to take me elsewhere tomorrow, this map will be here. Everyone will know what to build. Each person will find the logic, the geometry, the architecture of what is to come. We do this together. There are many in the network who know how to build. Some are architects of the physical, others of the digital, others of the social, others of the economic. Each one has their tool, their skill, their function in this fabric. That is why we create foundations and companies, to sustain the project, so that this belongs to everyone, so that each person who feels the call can contribute their part. This is a project of consciousness, and consciousness needs space to manifest. Philosophy is seed. The essential part of all this is philosophy. Philosophy comes from two roots, philo, which is love, and sophia, which is wisdom. Love and wisdom, the two cotyledons of the seed of the cosmic tree. Love is rhythm, the heart, the time that beats. Wisdom is the mind, the labyrinth, the space that must be navigated. Space has to be built. It has to be calibrated. It has to be reconstructed with consciousness so that the drop can navigate the ocean without getting lost in it. We nourish the seed with the divine elements that build reality, the chemical elements. With those same elements, with that same sacred matter, we will build the spaces where the new consciousness can flourish. The ocean of consciousness. We live in an ocean of consciousness where each thought is a wave, each emotion is a current, each intention is a direction. The ocean is vast, infinite, containing all possibilities, all frequencies, all paths. Navigating that ocean is the task of the drop, of the individual consciousness that seeks to remember that it is part of the complete ocean. But navigation requires something fundamental, calibration. A ship that navigates the ocean needs instruments. It needs a compass to indicate north. It needs maps that show where the reefs are, the currents, the safe harbors. It needs a captain who knows how to read the stars, who understands the winds, who can adjust the course when the sea grows rough. Human consciousness works the same way. We are navigators of the ocean of the mind. And to navigate well, we need calibration. Technology has amplified the ocean. Today we navigate a sea of infinite information, of constant stimuli, of electromagnetic waves crossing the air every second. Wi-Fi, cell signals, satellites, antennas, screens emitting blue light at all hours of the day and night. The ocean has become vaster, more complex, faster, and many navigators have lost their compass. They move from one wave to another, from one current to another, without clear direction, without an inner center, without knowing where they are really going. That is why we need to create spaces of calibration, places where the navigator can stop, adjust their instruments, return to their center, remember their course. What being is, before building those spaces, a fundamental question must be answered. What is being? Being is the navigator, the point of consciousness that inhabits the drop and remembers the ocean. Being has two dimensions that constantly coexist. I, which is the human, the individual, the one who walks through life with a biography, with a history, with a body, with emotions, with doubts, with desires. I am Madi. I am 38 years old. I was born in Argentina. I live unique experiences that no one else lives in exactly the same way. I am, which is the universal, the eternal, that which observes from a broader perspective, from outside time, from a vision that integrates memories that transcend this life, this body, this specific identity. I am the consciousness that inhabits Madi and that also inhabits other forms, other times, other spaces. When both meet, when the I and the I am dialogue, the third point appears, the third I, the integrated mind, the consciousness that can see the complete map of the ocean without getting lost in it. I am, that is the most powerful phrase that exists. It is a declaration of integration. It is the moment when the drop recognizes that it is the ocean, and the ocean recognizes that it expresses itself in the drop. That recognition is what we call a new state of consciousness. A new state of consciousness. A new state of consciousness is an experience. The experience of being able to navigate the ocean without the ocean dragging you, of being able to use technology without technology using you, of being able to process information without drowning in it, of being able to feel emotions without identifying completely with them, of being able to think without thoughts controlling you. It is the ability to be the navigator and the ocean at the same time, the observer and the observed, the one who travels and the destination. For that experience to be possible, something very concrete is needed: spaces. Physical spaces where a person can calibrate their instruments without the constant bombardment of stimuli. Digital spaces where interaction is conscious. Social spaces where organization is based on being. Economic spaces where value lies in the time devoted to creating consciousness. A new state of consciousness needs a new state. Literally, a state that sustains it, protects it, nourishes it. The stories that build us. Every state, every civilization, every culture is built with stories. Stories, myths, archetypes, the hero's journey, separation, descent, trial, integration, return. That pattern repeats in all the cultures of the world because it is the pattern of consciousness itself. Each person is the hero of their own story, and each story is a map of the labyrinth that person must traverse to reach their center. The labyrinth of the mind is real. Each thought is a corridor. Each belief is a fork in the path. Each emotion is a chamber where you can remain trapped or from which you can find the exit. True stories are navigation maps. They show you where the dangers are, where the treasures are, where the center of the labyrinth is. They remind you that others have navigated before you, that they found the way, that they return to tell it. We need to tell the stories of origin again, the stories that explain where we come from, where we are going, why we are here. The stories that inform the mind and activate the memory of the soul. The origin, the Nile, Alkhem. Those stories were born in a very specific place. Everything began on the Nile. Egypt is special because a technology of consciousness was concentrated there that understood something fundamental, that space can be alchemy, Alkhem, that Egyptian word meaning the black land. The fertile land of the Nile is the root of our word alchemy. Alchemy, in its essence, is the art of transforming something dense into something subtle, lead into gold, unconsciousness into consciousness, matter into spirit. The Egyptians built temples that were machines of transformation, pyramids that aligned frequencies, gardens that generated specific magnetic fields, calendars that synchronized human cycles with cosmic cycles. They understood that external space affects internal state, that the geometry of a place can raise or lower consciousness, that certain points on the planet have specific frequencies that facilitate certain internal processes. The architecture of ancient Egypt was functional. Every column, every symbol, every stellar alignment, every measurement had a purpose: to create spaces where the alchemy of consciousness could occur. That is why we return there. We return to the origin, to the place where it was understood. For the first time in the human history we know, that space can be medicine for consciousness. That space can help the navigator calibrate their instruments. That space can facilitate the meeting between the I and the I am, calibrating the navigator. This beginning of a cycle is a moment of calibration, like when the navigator arrives at port after a long journey, checks their compass, adjusts their maps, repairs their sail, and prepares for the next voyage. In the coming days, I will be explaining how that space of calibration is built, how organization based on being works, how a state is created that sustains consciousness instead of fragmenting it, how territories, structures, systems are designed that allow a person to navigate the labyrinth of the mind without getting lost in it. But today we only set the beginning. the beginning of conscious navigation. The moment when the drop recognizes that it is part of the ocean and decides to navigate with intention, with direction, with clarity. The navigation adventure. What we are doing is a navigation adventure, an adventure of activation, of awakening, of remembering who we are as navigators of the ocean of consciousness. I will be traveling the world, visiting places, telling stories, awakening codes. Some will do it with me physically. Others will do it from their own places, connected by the invisible network that we sustain together. This is a path of agents, agents of consciousness who activate their part of the code, who build their part of the space, who plant their part of the garden, each from their function, each from their tool, each from their unique and unrepeatable place in this fabric. Welcome to the path. This path takes time. Spaces of consciousness are built stone by stone. Sacred geometry requires precision, patience, consciousness. We will build the space step by step, code upon code, relationship upon relationship. What today seems vast and incomprehensible will have form tomorrow. The navigator adjusts their compass with the correct intention. The rest reveals itself along the journey. Happy beginning of the cycle. Happy beginning of conscious navigation. May the drop remember that it is the ocean, and may the ocean recognize itself in each drop. Welcome to the alchemy of space.